And the answer, in fact, is that no, it does not include any statutory language regarding the use of the three pillars. The implementing agency, in this case, the Department of Treasury, is responsible for implementing Section 45V, or the hydrogen production tax credit, um, in order to make it functional, and in order to actually, use it with businesses and taxpayers in the market. Um, and it was not the intent of the legislation itself to apply additional restrictions that are being proposed by the advocates of the three pillars. In fact, it would run counter to the larger goals of the Inflation Reduction Act, which are to make hydrogen more easily available and more cost effectively produced and available for all customers, while simultaneously driving down carbon emissions. So, fundamentally, it's not a match with either the IRA, nor is the language actually contained therein. Another question that's often asked about this topic is, why don't hydrogen production facilities just build their own renewable energy production systems, whether it's solar or wind or renewable natural gas? And in order to do that, a bunch of things would have to align. The short answer is simply permitting, financing, and location, right? So when you talk about permitting, the permitting process for a hydrogen facility can take 1 to 2 years by itself at best. Just because of the nature and scale of a production facility, the utility connections, all of the development included. As you can see right behind me, this is an example for Biotech's first production facility, and it's relatively small, but it's taken over a year to get it planned and permitted and now constructed. Simultaneously, the permitting process for development and grid connection for a renewable energy project can take even longer. It could take many years. Grid interconnection for renewable electricity is notoriously slow, difficult, and expensive. And tying those two projects together would be extremely difficult and complicated. The second one is financing. The cost of project development is substantial on its own, just for the hydrogen production facility, and tying project finance for hydrogen into the risks and additional costs and delays associated with energy production with the actual renewable energy project would be almost impossible. No bank would want to lend money to that project, and that's exactly the concerns that everyone is voicing right now about that issue. And then finally, location is probably one of the biggest constraints. Hydrogen is being utilized in locations that have nothing to do with renewable energy production, right? So hydrogen is fundamentally a storage medium. It can store energy and can be used in other places as a very efficient and effective way of transmitting that energy. But hydrogen end uses like trucking or power production are not necessarily the same as where solar, wind, and say biogas or a dairy farm might be located for RNG. So it's important to be able to utilize them in different places and not be forced to co-locate or co-develop those projects. And then finally, I like to kind of address what can actually be done, right? Because these decisions are ongoing. The production tax credit under the IRA is currently being deliberated. The entire industry is waiting for guidance from the Department of Treasury on how it will be implemented over the coming year. Essentially, everyone in the industry needs to be able to reach out to their regulatory and legislative, representatives, both on the Congress and Senate side, and make the concerns clear around the need for flexibility and multiple pathways for hydrogen production that does not overly restrict the use of different types of energy resources in order to produce hydrogen. Specifically, we need to be clear that RNG should be recognized as a valid pathway for hydrogen production, regardless of where it's coming from geographically. And also, it's a resource that's not just a niche, but it actually has the ability to provide a significant portion of the overall hydrogen production in the United States. Working with trade organizations such as USHA is an excellent way to leverage the influence and exposure that those groups bring, and to make your voice heard. And that's critically important that the word gets out.